Hey guys, Alex here with Momentum Charting. Thank you for joining me on this weekend update. If you have not yet done so, guys, make sure you jump down below and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a single update on broad markets, on SPY, on Dow, on everything S&P related, broad markets related over the next couple weeks, okay? Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for doing that, guys. I hope you are all having a fantastic weekend. And as for me, just a quick apology. It's been a couple days here since I made a video. I think the last one I did was Wednesday night or Thursday, and I just wanted to really, it just bugs me being wrong any time on the markets, just because of how much time and energy I devote to this, and how much I put into each and every video I do, each and every technical analysis I do. And I just really wanted to give the market, I could see, yeah, it was Wednesday was the last call. I really thought that this market had started reversing. And it's just it's so funny. I saw this correction. As you guys know, you can go back if you want and watch this September 7th update video I started doing on the SPY. And I could see this entire incoming correction starting here. And I called this on September 7th and been watching this whole thing carefully over the last few days, and just watched this decline of, at the time it was about 2.02%. And yeah, I just saw this really big reversal day, and there were a couple of reversals of condition on momentum and a couple of other things, and it's just it's so funny. Sometimes you guys know you can there's so many different indicators and things you can look at on any given market at any given time, and sometimes, as I say myself before, it's easy to lose sight of the forest through the trees. And this was here on a 30-minute time frame. Again, go back and watch the video I did on September 7th. This was the original trend line that I drew on September, connecting these 2 points here on September 3rd and September 9th. This was on a 30-minute time frame, and this was the original 30-minute trend line I drew, and I said, guys, do not even consider a reversal of conditions in the market until we at a minimum breach this 30-minute trend line to the upside and start putting some structure in place here that proves we are indeed breaking out of this downtrend. And what do? I for whatever reason, I saw some reversal of conditions in momentum and a couple of other things that just looked to be a reversal of conditions, and I wanted to jump in there, and I jumped in there a day early, and then I could see on Thursday just kind of this really neutral reset kind of day, and I didn't want to come out with another video on Thursday saying yet I was right or wrong. I just wanted to kind of let the dust settle on this whole thing and give it another day and see really what was happening on Friday before coming out with my next video, definitive video, and saying, and I really should have stuck to my guns on my original trend line here, which would have been the smart thing to do. You guys can see here, this trend line twice rejected the S&P 2 times. One time here on September 15th at 12:30, last tick of the afternoon, and then again here on the September 16th at around the same period of time. 2 times it rejected strongly and then started pushing prices back to the downside. I should have just been watching this trend line really more than anything else in the market, like the volatility indicator, which sometimes can be a little bit tricky, and a couple other things. I really should have been watching this more carefully than anything else in the market, and I didn't do that, and I called on Wednesday thinking that the reversal of conditions was set in the market. We could start pushing back to the upside again, and guys, that did not happen, and here we are now, Saturday. We've had this really choppy action over the last couple of days, and I don't want to take up a ton of your time right now, guys, but for the first thing I want to say is if you have not yet done so, go back to your charts, okay, and draw this 30-minute trend line in here on a 30-minute time frame. And guys, we want to be very, very, very extra cautious, okay, about entering any long positions in the market right now until this trend line has breached back to the upside. And I'm going to show you right now on a couple of charts some things that are really worrying me, okay, about some short-term possible negative momentum conditions in the market. And I do want to show you a couple of charts, and all three of them are going to be featuring the DRSI. You guys know I like to use that, and some one of them is on a longer period of time. It's going to be on the SPY chart, and then another chart of Apple, and then to me kind of the most worrying chart of all, almost the chart of IBM. And I want to show you guys this right now just to let you know kind of what I'm seeing in the market right now. And again, most important takeaways for this, guys. Right now, if you are long in the markets, just be really, really careful, especially if you're overextended, you're using leverage, you're using, for instance, short-term SPY options. You have big bets in place in the short term for the next week on options positions, anything that you are betting long in the market right now, guys. I just want you to be really, really careful and really, really cautious, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, so again, just briefly, quickly here, important things. Guys, I failed to do this. You need to, I didn't fail to do it. I had this notated on the 7th of September, this line in the sand, but for whatever reason, I was trying to, again, call this reversal of this trend early, but it was an absolute complete fake out. And I know, you know, markets fool most people most of the time. Even some of the sharpest traders in the markets get things wrong all the time, but I try to be right as often as I can. But even this one, I should have stuck to my guns on this trend here, and I just would have noted obviously that this move on Wednesday had cleared this. It cleared this trend line, which is the one that I for whatever reason had changed to watch. And even on this trend line yet, guys, there was no structure in place, so I should have been really more cognizant of this. But this was the main trend line that I established on this video on the 7th that I wanted everybody to be watching, and I failed to do that myself. Again, forest through the trees. But go ahead and mark this important trend line on your own charts of the SPY. Points September 7th, 12:30, September 9th, 9 in the morning, September 16th, 7 in the morning, and September 16th around 12:30. So connecting these 4 points, we want to be really cautious and really careful. Even if Monday happens to bring some action like the sideways chop, push back up higher, and markets once again act like they want to go higher. Just let's watch this here, okay? Watch this trend line and make sure this thing breaks to the upside and we get some real structure in place that shows markets are ready to move higher, okay? But I am not so sure, guys, that that markets aren't going to start a steeper correction and steeper decline starting on Monday and Tuesday next week. I'm looking at a couple of these charts, and I'm really getting a little bit anxious about the what I'm seeing in a couple of these charts. And I'm going to show that to you right now. So number one, I've switched from a 30-minute time frame here on the chart of the SPY. I'm still here on the chart of the DRSI. I wanted to open this up for you guys here and show this to you. Okay? So here's the DRSI, and I wanted to show this trend line that's been operating right now since the COVID lows in March. You guys can see tick point number 1 here at 22 daily time frame DRSI. Let's see, when exactly was it? Yeah, February 28th. And then the sort of double bottom, higher double bottom, positive divergence bottom on March 23rd of 2020. So this has been a very clear very beautiful trend line that's been in place on this DRSI. You guys can see that here. Again, I say all the time, but markets usually are ready to reveal themselves if you are ready to listen. And all you had to do really was just follow this DRSI up throughout the entirety of the bottom from 2020, and it just would have been easy if everything was just so easy, right? To just do that. There's been a lot of highs, a lot of choppiness, a lot of all sorts of shenanigans in place in here throughout the time period. Obviously, as you guys know, this has been pretty much of a wild roller coaster ride from the lows of March 2020. But grand scheme of things, markets have been pushing up higher and higher and higher and higher, and we do not want to miss that big picture point. Okay, but here, as of September 14th, 2021, this line of support here that has been in place since March of 2020 has now breached to the downside on this DRSI. Now, guys, do I know that that's necessarily going to bring a big correction or a big not a crash? I don't think a market crash is coming right now, but the more I'm looking at a couple of these charts, the more it looks to me like we're definitely in for a potential period of correction here, a larger period of correction than we have seen the potential for in quite some time, guys. So I just wanted to show you guys this breach to the downside of this daily DRSI trend on a daily time frame of SPY. Now, let's just look at a pure interest. What has happened, guys, the last time we had one of these sort of 35-degree-ish trend lines in place that have been encapsulating the move of the S&P for the period of a year or more? What exactly has happened to the markets over the last couple times that we have seen a time frame similar to what's happening now, where we've gotten a clear breach to the downside of this DRSI? Okay, what has happened? And I want to show you this. So again, here still on the chart of the SPY. So this was the time period from October 2018 to February 25th, 2020. This right here, guys, this point where we continued lower. At one point here, we did get this quick breakdown and then push back to the upside right here. That was in August 2019. But overall, this time period here on this trend of the DRSI, this which encapsulated this entire move from the November 2018, you guys remember the crash of 2018, all the way up to the beginning of the COVID crash in February of 2020. All that move encapsulated by this DRSI. Once we finally got a true breakdown of this DRSI trend, that is obviously what happened here in February of 2020, which brought in just a massive correction in markets, okay, to the tune, everybody knows now, of 30+% in markets over the period of, 3-4 weeks, something like that. I think it was about the totality of the crash was a period of about 3.5-4 weeks, something like that. So the worst part of this correction here started when we did break this DRSI to the downside here clearly, which was on February 25th, which ushered in the biggest part of this correction from the COVID crash. Okay, so that's the first time. And then the other time that this breached, I wanted to show you this. This was a time period here. I wanted to see this here, interest out of just how much time this was here. So this was the time period here of 483 days, so about a year and a half. This one here that we've had going, I think it's going to be a little bit longer. Let's just take a look here. What is the time period we're talking about here, since showing this breakdown? yeah, longer than 483 days. This one has been here 556 days, okay? And let's look at this one here. This is obviously shorter here, but I think it's going to be almost a period of a year, right? Let's just see until this thing started breaking down. Okay, so almost a year, about 8 months, 9 months, something like that. But the third time that this DRSI chart broke down in the last few years here was October 2018, which which ushered in this this was the crash obviously here of 2018, and you guys can see just what happens not only when we start breaking down these moves on this DRSI on a larger period time frame, right? But you start getting these moves off the bottoms and operating DRSI in these low areas of around in the 20s and teens, and markets can start getting these wicked bounces just lower and lower and lower until eventually things correct. But anyway, long story short, over the period of, let's see, about almost 2.5 months here or so, markets corrected to the tune here of approximately just about a little over 20%, right? So seems to me like the longer these moves have been building up, the steeper the corrections are going. And so the current move, guys, I'm not saying at all that what's happening right now, the correction that's incoming, is going to be anything like the COVID crash of 2020. I do not want to say that at all, period, bar none. I just want to leave the possibility open that, guys, we do not have a crystal ball, and we need to give markets the respect of letting them do whatever it is that they have in mind to do over the coming days, the coming weeks, to work out this correction and solve it however the market feels fit, that it needs to work out this downside correction, and we just have to respect that. And that's basically what this video is about, just kind of a warning. The last two periods of time that this market has broken this DRSI, one of them was in October 2018, which ushered in this period of bearishness for about 3 months. The other one was obviously here, the COVID crash of February 2020, which ushered in this period of extreme bearishness for the period of about a month, right? When that broke down here, it was just basically a flat line straight down from here, period of 22 on the DRSI, double bottom, and then started working out of that from here. So here, where are we at today? We're sitting at DRSI of about 47. So obviously there's potentially a long way still yet to go to reach these levels in the low 20s. DRSI is very clearly broken to the downside. So we want our antennas up. We want to be very, very cautious and very, very careful, okay, over the coming days and coming weeks until we see a clear and concise pattern of correction in these markets. I want to be very, very careful and very, very cautious, and I want you guys to do the exact same thing, okay? So the other two charts I wanted to show you, let's see, the chart of Apple. So you guys know I've been watching this chart of Apple religiously on a 2-hour time frame, and this here, just basically looking at this DRSI, this looks pretty bad right now. Pretty bad. We're operating in these really low areas of DRSI with these not able to improve at all right now, only topping out at around 35, 39, and appears to be potentially on the way to working lower. Now, I don't know that for certain yet, obviously, but this is a very, very bearish area of DRSI. And the one thing I did want to show is that the last, and I showed this before on a different broad market video. I wish I could remember exactly which one it was, but I went in depth on this chart of Apple on a 2-hour period of time, and the last 7 times, I think 7 or 8 times since early 2018 that Apple has broken a line of support to the downside on a 2-hour time frame without fail. Every single time the broad markets have operated and ushered in a correction. And this was another thing I was looking at on Wednesday, guys. I saw that this chart here came down and respected this line of support here and then started coming up. And I was just thinking in the back of my mind, well, there's another piece of evidence that potentially is leading us to believe that markets are ready to start pushing back to the upside. But again, lines of support, lines of resistance, guys. We never ever cleared some of these really important lines of downtrending overhead resistance, breaking anything remotely close to the upside. I was just kind of watching this really strong area of support here. We bounced off that Wednesday, it looked to me like potentially started looking higher, but just look at all the touch points here that this line 2-hour has respected on Apple here, guys. July 8th at 6:30 in the morning, this big confluence of support here on July 19th. Again, July 28th, this area of support here also. Let me just move this up just a little bit, get a little better line there. And again here on August 19th at 6:30 in the morning. And obviously that line here, I told you, guys, on Wednesday, Apple wicked down, bounced off that. It looked like potentially we're moving higher. Just a big fake out, and we had started moving lower. And guys, just look at this. We got on Friday not only our first full candle body breakdown on a 2-hour time frame below the bounds of this trend line of support. We've gotten a full bearish candle, breakdown candle right here below this crucial line of support that Apple has been respecting now for the period of since July 6th, the period of about, let's see here, 78 days, so almost 3 months now. But again, guys, long story short, every time we have seen one of these 2-hour lines of support that Apple has established itself in break to the downside, there has been at a minimum, a push to the downside in broad markets, okay? And it wouldn't be fair of me to complete this video without showing you this chart of Apple, which many of you who follow this channel know I've been watching this for a long time. So here it is, guys. This line of support has now breached on Apple to the downside. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm just telling you that the last 7 times that we've had a breach of this trend line support on a 2-hour time frame of Apple, it's ushered in pretty bad things over the subsequent days and weeks for broad markets. Okay, so there's that piece of evidence. The piece of evidence in the SPY on that DRSI breaking down. And then lastly, I just wanted to bring your guys' attention to the chart of IBM, which is obviously a component of the Dow Industrial. Let me go on this to a daily time frame. And yeah, just looking at this again, it's really strong support. I don't know, is this going to come all the way down here? But if that were on Apple, that's a heck of a correction in itself, guys, right? All the way down to this long-term line of correction, long-term line of support. But the last 2 times that Apple has broken this, we did come down to this line of support, once here in May and then again here in February. 2 times broken this 2-hour line of support. Both times came down all the way down here and tested this long-term line of support. What is that right now as far as a potential correction in the market? About 9% on Apple. 9% correction on Apple, okay? So that's just some kind of parameters I'm looking at, and I'm going to be obviously watching everything in here. And if we happen to just make it all the way down to this line of support, going to be watching these areas in Apple very, very carefully for a potential pushback in market and another buying opportunity, another strong long-term opportunity for markets, broad markets, to start pushing to the upside if we can start breaking some of these lines of overhead resistance in Apple and respecting this long-term line of support in Apple. Okay, so guys, let's watch that. Let's watch that chart of the SPY. Let's watch this chart of Apple here on a 2-hour time frame. And I did lastly want to draw your guys' attention here to this chart of IBM, which potentially to me is almost potentially the most disturbing one of all. Just awful. Looks to me like bearish reversal of conditions on a daily time frame here, breaking this important line of support, which broke to the upside in April. Reversing now, we've got this candle body, which is now breached to the downside here, which happened on Friday. Okay, our last trading day, Friday, starting to break down. This thing just looks really ugly to me and really bearish. And let me show you this on the DRSI, which looks even uglier and even more bearish. Just like the chart of the SPY before, I'm on a daily time frame here. And this, once again, guys, this has been a line that has been basically respected in almost every way since the March 2020 lows here on IBM right here. March 19th, March 20th, and kind of got this double bottom reversal here and started to push to the upside. And the entirety of this move to the upside encapsulated again above the trend line of this DRSI. This entire move from the lows here, from around $91 all the way up to at its high around 152 on IBM, is now this DRSI now here, guys, in a very ugly and very bearish and nasty looking fashion, is broken down convincingly to the downside. You guys just look at this. This is a very ugly and very bearish pattern here on this DRSI. You've got this extremely negative divergent double topping pattern again here, and a breakdown here of this trend line here, support 8th of July 21, 20th of July 21, and just a breakdown and pushing lower right here, guys. Right here, you can see it starting to push lower on the DRSI. So guys, what has been the outcome when the previous couple times when the chart of IBM has broken to the downside in a similar matter of time, where the move, entirety of the move has been encapsulated by an uptrending DRSI? And what has been the result of the last couple of times we have seen a similar breakdown? Well, let me just show you that here, right? One of those was here in this time period here from November 1st, 2018. Again, the entirety of this move to the upside encapsulated in IBM, and then we got this breach, this breakdown right here in IBM, 28th of February 2020, and everybody knows pretty much what happened after that, right? That was the this COVID crash, this correction from COVID, and that was this time period here where we saw this massive correction in markets as well as a massive correction to the downside in IBM. Okay, so that's the first time period I wanted to show you guys. And let's get rid of that. And I think I did have one more time period back here that I wanted to show you guys, and I do indeed. Okay, and the other one, the other time period here was the time period, again, a nice move to the upside, and IBM encapsulated from August 2015 all the way through April 2017. Everything, this move to the upside in IBM, pushing all the way up from, let's see, what was this move to the upside in IBM? Of about 55%, which obviously in a stodgy old stock like IBM, you guys know is a massive move over the period of even a year and a half. That's a big move for this stock. But that's what happened. But when we breached this DRSI support to the downside here, which happened right here in April 10th, 2017. What happened right here? Okay, right here, April 10th. Let me make sure I've got the right period of time. So right in here was when we were showing a breakdown in the DRSI and breakdown in IBM. So what happened? Just look what happened in this time period here. Over the period of, get my ruler tool out here, over the period of just about 132 days, so about 2 months, the period of about 2 months, which kind of corresponds with relatively a couple of the other corrections that we've seen once these DRSI corrections took hold of certain stocks and certain markets. But a correction of 20% in IBM is obviously a massive correction, okay? And so that's just what I really wanted to show you guys and just bring to your attention a couple of charts here which are just leaning me. Guys, I don't have a crystal ball, but you know, it's my duty here, obviously, in momentum charting. I'm seeing some really weird and funny things happening here, potentially negatively impacting markets in the next couple of days, couple of weeks. And it's, even though, guys, I mean, just look at this chart of SPY here, right? And it's just really, I mean, it's not showing anything here as of yet, really. I mean, you can draw all sorts of trend lines here, trend lines here. I mean, you can do all sorts of funny stuff here, even the minor trend lines here. Nothing as of yet is showing a potential break to the downside in the chart of SPY, right? Nothing is showing anything remotely similar to what we had here, corrections breaking down on the chart of the SPY back here on the COVID crash. But guys, some of these other charts are giving us some warning ahead of time. One of those, obviously, the chart of the DRSI is showing an early indication of a potential big pullback in the chart of the SPY. The chart of Apple, a warning of a potential correction at hand, and that chart of IBM. I'm putting all three of those together, and yeah, just thinking there's a potential here for a period where we just really want to be careful here, guys, over the coming days, coming weeks. And if you do nothing else from this video, guys, just do, like I said, the one thing you can really do for yourself at the beginning of this chart: draw this trend line on a 30-minute time frame, and do not even think about getting involved back in markets, especially if we get some really steep correction here over the coming days and weeks. Obviously, we're going to want to try to bottom fish a better bottom than this trend line here, which will be miles, you know, away from SPY bottom. But I'm just saying, if in the short period of time we start getting some choppiness here, do yourself a favor and don't try to pick a bottom here in the short term at a minimum until we at least breach this 30-minute trend line to the upside and start showing some structure out of this correction that we've been in over the last week and change. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this video. Really appreciate it. Hope I didn't bore you to tears with this video, but I just wanted to bring some important and somewhat what I thought pertinent items of concern that I've really been watching over the last couple of days to your attention, just so you have all of the same things at your disposal that I'm seeing in my charts, just the potential of what's possibly going to happen, potential larger degree correction over here in the next couple of days and weeks. Guys, yeah, thank you again so much for joining this video. I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. Let's hope for the best on markets early next week, guys. Let's really hope this thing just pushes back to the upside and we start getting this beautiful structure in place out of this trend line of support and a real reversal of conditions and momentum and other things. Let's hope that happens. I'm an optimist at heart. That is what obviously I want to see. But again, my duty here, you're watching my channel, so it's my duty here to warn you of everything I'm seeing in potential charts. So that's why I brought all those different things to your attention in the charts of IBM and Apple and everything like that. Do with that information as you will. Guys, I will 100%, I promise, definitely be coming out with a video on Monday and Tuesday, continuation of this weekend video, to let you guys know and see the continuation of this correction that we're seeing in markets, letting you know, seeing if we're indeed grinding higher in markets, if we're chopping sideways, what we're seeing on overall trend and feel of markets Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I will definitely be bringing those videos to you guys 100% over the early next week, because I think it's going to be a very important time period in markets. Guys, thank you so much for joining me in this video. Again, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any of those important update videos early next week. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye for now.